you want to sum up how preseason's gone and just sort of your outlook going into the first game this weekend?
Yeah, listen, it's been a long off season, certainly a long preseason. Really happy with where the group is at the moment. As I spoke about before preseason started, I felt it was important that we put the players in challenging positions in preseason. We certainly did that. The growth of the group has been tremendous. The guys that we've brought in are integrating exactly the way we had hoped. Certainly still more room to improve and grow collectively, but overall, just really excited to be getting the season started, really excited to be here, and looking forward to a positive year.
Danny, what's the biggest difference you want to see from this group, and just from this group in general when it comes to just the makeup of it, maybe compared to last year?
Yeah, I think, as I know you guys have seen and I've talked about a lot, I think the ability to play in multiple systems this year is going to be really important. We have guys that we know can play different roles, whether that be as a wingback or an outside back. And when you talk about the group holistically, I think it's important that we certainly start the year off with on the right foot here at home. That's really important, something we've talked about a ton already. And again, when you look back at the season that we did have, certainly, we with expected goals and expected goals against, we had the lowest in the league. At the same time, our goals against that actually happened didn't reflect that. So it's important that we're limiting chances to the opponent, but those limited chances don't turn into goals, and that happened a little bit too often for us last year. I think we certainly addressed it in preseason this year. And then again, I want us to be one of the best attacking teams in the league, but also one of the best defending teams in the league. And obviously that's a recipe for success if you're able to do both, and those are some things that we've been discussing.
Andy, for you, this has been a different offseason. Now you're going in knowing that you are the head coach. How has that been different, and what are some of the things that maybe you adjusted to during the season and now as you prepare to start off as the head coach?
Yeah, I think, listen, it's being able to address things in preseason that I feel are really important, that during the season maybe makes it a little bit more difficult to do with game after game coming. And again, integrating different systems the way that I want it to be played. I think it's important to be able to have the time to do that. In the middle of the year, obviously it changed shape a couple times, but you only have a couple days in those weeks to be able to get everybody on the same page. So now we've had a little bit more time. We're able to implement those different shapes and the different ideas. And as I've said, came away from preseason really happy with where we're at.
Yeah, it seems like it's been mentioned multiple times that you guys are letting that loss in the playoffs kind of fuel you going into this season. Is that something you guys really do talk about a lot for motivation and such?
Yeah, I can tell you. Listen, I've, I said it before in the press. It's something that certainly fuels me daily. It's no secret how the season ended last year was probably the most difficult I've ever experienced in my both playing and coaching career at this moment. But at the same time, I feel really proud and confident of where we're at, and I'm confident in the group of players that we've brought in. It's certainly something we've talked about in preseason, both with the returning guys, but also the new players that are involved, that while they weren't here last year, they need to understand that feeling that we had. They need to understand that feeling that's fueling a lot of these players that are returning every day. And ultimately, my belief is that if you get everybody in that locker room to understand what that feeling was, then you have a group collectively pushing into the direction that we need to be.
We pause for just a second. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I went to the wrong place. I apologize.
We can blame Kendrick.
It's all Kendrick's fault.
We'd expect that from him.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Eric.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, what has the dynamic been like with you've always had a good core returning, and you still have a good core returning, but it's a large cast of newcomers, and what's that been like, kind of putting that together for this program that has such a tradition?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. Listen, when when you're bringing in new players into an environment like Louisville City, it's important that those new players very quickly understand what the culture is here, right? And you try to do as best job as you can when you're interviewing these players and getting to know them before you sign them, right? And so we feel really happy with the group that we've brought in from a culture standpoint. It's certainly been made clear throughout preseason the expectation and what it means to win every day in training, but obviously in games as well. And so when you're putting new players in the locker room, trying to get everybody on the same page, like anything, it takes a little bit of time. But if you have the group of players that have the willingness to want to learn, to want to grow, understand what that culture is, then again, I know I've used the word already, but it's a recipe for success. So the players have the new players have certainly integrated themselves well, both on and off the field. And I know everybody's looking forward to getting to Lynn Family Stadium this weekend.
Which of the new players have really stood out to you during this preseason? What have they kind of brought to the table that brings that another dynamic and element to the team as you all get ready for the season?
Yeah, honestly, I couldn't ask for more from all of them in different perspectives. So Wilson Harris has done a really good job up front for us. Manny Perez, I've played him in multiple positions now up to this point, and he's been excellent both at right back as well as out wide as a winger. Ray Serrano's had a tremendous preseason, getting assists, scoring goals, everything that you hope to see from a winger. Matiti has had some good training sessions. He's been dealing a little bit with some injuries, so that's Enoch Mushagalusa. He's been dealing with a little bit of some injuries, so we've been trying to manage that. And we signed Jan Eric. He's a right back out of college who's done a really good job, certainly earned his contract. So there's been a lot of pieces involved this preseason, and I couldn't be happier for the group.
Do you know who you're going to have replacing Chris Hubbard in goal?
Up to this point, Kyle Morton has earned the starting position. He's done a really good job. Again, it's the way that we want to play. Not easy for a goalkeeper to come in and pick up on the different movements and tactical things that we're looking for, but Kyle's been making big saves. He's been good with his feet, and we're excited to see him on Saturday.
I'd heard that Cam came off injured during the St. Louis match. How's his health going into Saturday?
Yeah, we're still waiting for the diagnosis, but it's looking like it's going to be a long, lengthy injury. I'm not 100% sure yet, but it certainly we're hoping he can get back as soon as he can, and feeling for him at the moment.
Do you have a clear vision for your starting 11, or some of the starting roles kind of open for the taking for the players?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't say I've settled on it yet. I make it clear to the players that every day in training matters, and it certainly does as we look to prepare for Atlanta. So we'll have an important day tomorrow, an important day Wednesday, and I think the lineup will become more clear. Up to the players to earn the spot. They've certainly been working throughout preseason, but there are definitely places that are still up for grabs at the moment.
Was the biggest offseason addition Jeff Greer?
We are extremely happy to have Jeff Greer here, no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Kyle. Obviously you're familiar with him, you grew up in the league and with the MLS experience as well, but what attracted you guys to him, and what through the process made him feel like that was a good fit?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple things there. First of all, every time that we played him against St. Louis, he was always coming up with a big save. And the biggest thing for me was his presence on the field. So even me being on the sideline and just watching how he commanded the group in front of him, how he was constantly engaged, I feel like the communication is so important from our goalkeeper, and you're seeing it in preseason already. He's done an excellent job of commanding the group in front of him. He's done an excellent job of holding guys accountable from the back as best as he can, and his presence has been key. There's no doubt about it. So, when we played against him numerous times against St. Louis, you could see it game in and game out. So we're excited that he's going to be wearing our colors, and hopefully, you guys are all able to see it on Saturday.
Just to clarify on Cam's injury, what is he dealing with specifically?
Not 100% sure, but I don't want to put anything out there because I'm not 100% sure. It's a leg injury, a lower leg injury. Could be muscular, could be a little bit more. So but I am confident that it's going to be a while.
You talked about integrating new systems during the preseason. What could fans expect in terms of the brand of soccer they could see when you all start the season up here this weekend?
Yeah, so while the shape may change, our style of play is not going to change. We're going to be a high-pressing team. I want to be a team that builds out from the back in order to unbalance the opponent. At the same time, if we are isolated higher up the field with the guys that we have that have pace, then I'll have no problem with us making sure that we're exploiting that space in behind. So high-pressing team, want the ball, ultimately want to score a lot of goals this year and do the best job we can to again, put ourselves in a position to be one of the best defensive teams in the league. Because while, again, the goals against didn't show that, we're very much a process-oriented group and believe that, there were games where we were limiting teams to four shots a game, and that's a pretty good statistic if you're able to do that. So over the course of the season, I want to make sure that we finish at the top from a data standpoint, from a defensive standpoint, but also in the attack.